Welcome, everyone. Just let everyone pour in. It's just going to be me today on the live stream. We had some technical difficulties trying to get everyone in, so you just have me today. So we'll let everyone come in slowly. Wow, we got 40 of you already. Sorry about the delay. We had some technical difficulties. New laptop, trying to work it with Zoom. So you're just going to have me today for the live stream. So that was good. I'm glad you guys liked the advance notice. We're going to be doing that more often with the live streams. At least I'll send it out an hour ahead of time. I just want to give it a couple minutes to let everyone come in. We have 52 people. So welcome, everyone. Welcome. Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't have everyone could join. We had some technical difficulties, but you got me for today. All right, we're going to get started. So one of the things that I was looking at today that we really haven't talked about on this channel too much was the Ripple court case. So it looks like Ripple has filed a motion to dismiss between the three parties. So Chris Larson, Brad Garlinghouse, and Ripple themselves. And they're going to try and do it in 10 pages instead of just the regular 5. So I think we're starting to see the tide turn a little on this case as compared to the past. And we've had, our ups and downs with this, but I think we're going to really start to see a push here with Gensler coming in. And now the SEC has agreed to meet with them. So this is good. This is definitely very good, and we're heading in the right direction. So that's one thing. I was listening to Crypto Erie earlier, and she did a good video on it. I really enjoyed that. Oh, hey, Deep Space Flare, welcome. Lantern, welcome. Don, welcome. All right, so the other thing that I also wanted to talk about today was the Flare Finance beta. So I know a lot of you are part of that, and if you do have any questions with Flare Finance beta, go to the Discord server under Flare Finance, and they are really helpful there with the questions. You have Indy and all those guys and girls over there will help you out, which is exciting to do the Flare Finance beta. Now that it's the second time around for everyone who was in the private, they weren't able to do the public beta, and now we're able to actually play around with the yield farming and actually see how we're going to make profits and how you're going to strategize towards those farm pools, and you can test out with your XRP because there's certain strategies that are more beneficial than other ones. So that's one thing I was playing around with, and you could get lost on the Flare Finance beta for hours if you're on there. And you do have to claim every day from the farm pools. So that when you claim your YFIN out of there, then you have to put it somewhere. So you do need to keep on top of it. That's one thing's for sure. And if you guys got questions, feel free to fire them away. Oh, here's a good one. Do you think the escrow might end up with the U.S. Treasury? And do you think that might have been the design from the beginning? I don't actually know 100%, but I personally, my opinion, I don't think so, because that wouldn't be fair to the rest of the world. And the whole point of a public, decentralized, open blockchain is that nobody has control of it. If Ripple handed something like that to the Treasury, that kind of defeats the whole purpose. The whole purpose. Where I think the escrow is going to wind up going is going to be that conforms with that same mentality. If it's an open ledger, nobody should have control of it. Just look at what Flare Networks is doing with their extra supply. Where's this supply going? It's going to benefit those who participate in the network. I don't see how anything really applies to the escrow going to the Treasury. That really doesn't accomplish anything, and it really doesn't benefit anybody. It kind of would defeat the whole purpose, and it kind of collapse the whole XRP ledger if that happened. Look at what they're doing with things like the Trustline app, and look at what they're building with Flare Networks. Where's the direction of things going? I don't know where the whole handing it over to the Treasury came from, but I'm absolutely not a believer in that. I don't see that ever happening. Okay, here we go. There's one more. What's the website for Flare farming again? Oh, he posted it right here. So Deep Space Flare, it's in the Discord. Can you not set it to auto claim YFIN every day? That's a good question. Can you set it to claim auto? I don't think so. Does minting F assets trigger a taxable event? So I'm not an accountant, so this is not financial advice, but I don't believe so. I've been asked this question a lot, and I don't really understand why it would trigger a taxable event. You're not profiting and you're not losing. If anything, it's a loss because you're paying 5% fee or whatever the fee is going to be to mint an F asset. I don't see why that would be taxable. Taxable is when you make profits. So if you were selling something for a profit to fiat, that's a taxable event. If I'm taking this XRP and I'm turning it into FXRP, I'm paying a fee for that. So if anything, you could write it off as a loss. If anything, I don't even know if that's possible, but I don't see how it could be taxed as a profit because you're not profiting from anything. The tax questions are just tough because we don't have all the answers right now. Rosemary, it's be careful with the escrow getting handed over because you got to look at what is the facts and what is going on, and then what is like really speculation and far out. And that's like really speculative. It's not really based on anything. And I try to stay clear of the things that are too wild of speculation. So Brian D asks, can you turn FXRP back into XRP? Yes. So you could redeem whenever you like on Flare. There's going to be a very small fee. I think it's 0.1% to redeem. So at any point, you'll be able to do this most likely from your wallet or however they set it up with a web browser extension. We don't know the details of how that's going to work. We know Toho Labs is building the integration into the Flare network. So that'll be able to then connect to apps like Flare Finance's app that you go on there and then you could interact with the Flare Finance ecosystem. So we are using MetaMask right now for that. But we don't know if MetaMask is going to work for Flare. I have a feeling that Toho Labs is going to build something specifically for Flare networks. And that will be geared to, we're going to have all this XRP. People are going to have Litecoin. They're going to have Doge. So how are they going to be able to get those assets right then into the Flare network to mint F assets? Oh, thank you, Spanish Cobra. I appreciate that. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you. And it's a lot of work. That's one thing. Just keeping pace with the whole ecosystem and the market. Things change so fast and so rapidly. Like what we thought 2 years ago doesn't always apply. So earlier, before the stream started, I was talking with Lars, and he asked me something very interesting. I think this is a really good topic. So back in 2018, 2019, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson made these comments that 99% of the tokens will be gone in the coming years. And I see a lot of people say that now. And the thing is, I don't necessarily see that playing out because if you look at the trends that are happening, it's only more and more tokens. What I think they saw at the time was that how are these ICOs going to continue? How are we going to be able to keep these fundraising intact? And there was no other way to really get tokens out there. But, fast forward 2-3 years ahead, and now we have these DAO distributions. We have airdrops. So there's other ways to get the tokens out there. But I think at some point we got to separate, or at least the market does, from what are native blockchain tokens like Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Spark in the future, from like dApp tokens like Uniswap, Chainlink, even the Flare Finance tokens. Those are dApp tokens. So they're not native to a blockchain for the infrastructure, like the security level. And many of those tokens are used to secure the networks, where the dApp tokens don't have to worry about that because they piggyback on top of the actual blockchains. So we're seeing just a whole rise in dApp tokens. I mean, it's just like never ending. So I can't really say how can 99% of the tokens go away if we just keep seeing more and more and more tokens coming out. And Flare Finance, they have 3 coming out just with them. And there's no token sales. They're just, being DAO distributed or airdropped. And then we might see one with the Trustline network. That's going to have their own token. Then we might see Proppy come over, like Flare Community said. So how's the interest rate? Golden Stool asks, how's the interest rate going to be determined on the Flare network? Are you talking about the interest rate of the Spark rewards from the FTSO? Or are you talking about the interest that you'll receive from minting F assets? Just clarify on that. I'll get back to that. So Huang asks, Mickey, is Flare or Flare IOU a good investment for passive income in the future? Okay, so Flare IOU, they are different on both Poloniex and Bitrue. If you buy the IOU for Spark tokens on Poloniex, you're only going to get 15% of that when the network launches, and then you'll get the rest distributed over the next 2 to 3 years. If you buy the IOU on Bitrue, you'll receive 100% of that right away, and then that's it. So that's the difference there with those two. So be careful because the prices are different, and Poloniex has actually a little blog they wrote about it. So it is great for passive income. What's going to be nice with Spark tokens is you're going to be able to hold them and then also be able to just earn and then use them as well. So there's no other really native token, Bitcoin, XRP, or Ethereum, that you really could just hold in your own wallet and just earn. And then you have the staking tokens. You actually have to lose possession of them. Like Cardano with ADA, you have to actually lose possession. With Link, you got to lose possession. With Spark, you're not going to have to give up possession of those to a validator or some other entity. And that's what's nice. So, yes, you're going to be able to make a lot of passive income with it. Yes, and there's different risk profiles with that. All right, chat is moving pretty fast here. What do we got next? If I'm an agent on Flare network, I won't lose my leveraged Flare as long as I don't touch the exchanged asset, right? So Darks D of the Moon asks, so we don't know exactly all the details of actually what the agent entails. And yes, you would have the XRP that you received on that side. And then there would be the collateral that you would be putting up as Spark on the Flare side. So you would also have to have a reserve too. So it's going to take some financial effort to manage your collateral, or some kind of software to do that, because you're going to always have to keep it at 2.5 times. So I don't really think it's made for retail to do. I think there'll be services that will allow us just to stake our Spark with them to earn those underlying assets. But I don't know if that's necessarily correct. You might lose your leveraged Spark because you're always going to have to be managing the collateral ratio. It's a dynamic system. I mean, hopefully they come out with more details. Hugo made a comment about there might be a bidding system with that. So I don't know exactly how they're going to do it in the final version. So Richard actually asks, I don't have to claim YFIN daily, right? It will just add up, right? Yes, that's correct. It will just add up. But if you do claim it right away, then you could use it right away. So that's interesting if you want to use it, but you don't have to. And then XRP Hartley asked, where does XDC come into all of this? What role will it play? I heard something about plumbing, but I'm clueless. Well, XDC, I know that Copper, the custodian for Flare Network Limited, is also a custodian for XDC and Avalanche. I'm not sure how XDC plays into this. I haven't heard any connections directly with Flare. The token itself is an ERC20, so that doesn't really fit the bill as an F asset. ERC20s will come over in different ways through like Flare Wrap and other interoperability solutions. The F assets are really more for the, I guess we could call them now like legacy blockchains, your Bitcoins, your Litecoins, your Doge, your XRPs, your Stellars that don't have that smart contracts capability to have the interoperability at the smart contract layer. So now we got Supcom2124 asks, how does the F asset collateral management work? Is it like getting liquidated in a leveraged position if the amount of collateral I have is suddenly not enough for my minted FXRP? Okay, so first, you don't put up the collateral for the FXRP. Somebody else does. And it is different than getting liquidated in a leveraged position because the underlying asset is still held on the native blockchain. So unlike a typical leveraged position where you put collateral in and mint an asset, with this, there's actually the underlying asset still exists on the native blockchain. So you won't have to worry about all that. If you're just minting FXRP, that'll happen behind the scenes, and you just mint FXRP and earn Spark from that. There will be a role if you want to use your Spark then to put up as collateral for other people, in exchanges, and there'll be other services that will offer this too. Hey, Dale, you made it. Good to see you. And withcharity.org, I want to thank him. He made today's thumbnail, and he will be making the thumbnails in the future because I'm not the best at making those things. I try, but I'm not the most creative. Thank you, With Charity. And we got with ADA, you just delegate your stake, you still have it. Or you delegate your stake, but you still have it. Can you use that stake to go somewhere else in some kind of other application, though? With Spark, you're going to be able to actually use your Spark somewhere else and actually still earn the FTSO rewards because you're just delegating the vote. You're not delegating the actual stake. So you're going to be able to actually stake it and delegate at the same time. So that's kind of like superior to ADA. Why is the price of XRP so artificially suppressed? Seeing it be soon to be overtaken by Uniswap in market cap makes no sense. So that's Elo Adventure asks or says, if you look at before the 2017 run up, people were saying the exact same thing. They were like, why is IOTA's price higher than XRP's? Why is XRP suppressed? It's just the market mechanics right now. I mean, look, we're in an SEC lawsuit. I mean, and it's going to be tough for the price to really blow up while this is ongoing. But as soon as it's over, it's going to explode. I mean, it's the only asset in really the top 10. It's miraculous that it stayed at 45 cents right now throughout all this. But I wouldn't really worry. As long as you know what you own and you know what they're building. Uniswap's a DApp token for liquidity pools on top of Ethereum with monster gas fees. I'm really not worried about something like that. Long term, it only could go so far, those assets. They're DApp tokens. They're never going to be able to compete long term with the actual underlying blockchain tokens. And it's tied to everything Ethereum does, so it's linked to that no matter what. We got big questions today. Don, I want to get a question from you. How likely are we going to see settlement good for XRP holders? I mean, I can't see how it's bad because I don't see Ripple not settling or settling for something that hurts them and XRP. I think if that was the case, they would have settled already and it would have hurt us. So they learned their lesson from the FinCEN fine. So with FinCEN, they basically just bowed down to the FinCEN and just took everything that they threw at them. And meanwhile, that was just over Roger Ver not signing the right papers. And FinCEN just came in and did this huge investigation with everything that was going on in the ledger. And then they had to survey it and track everything after that. So what they did was pull all their products that use the XRP ledger that retail could use. And in the meantime, they've spent the last couple years building up everything around it so that once everything that's used on the ledger is going to be compliant. So once we have the pay strings really roll out, because that's going to be next, that's how everything will get compliant on the XRP ledger. And there's no doubt in my eyes that the XRP ledger is going to be all compliant with everything that's done on it, everything that runs on it through the GateHub, through Zum apps, through Trustline is going to all be compliant because it's going to link your pay string ID right to your real ID. And all these exchanges already have all your information. So all they have to do is just link that to a pay string and verify for you, and then you could transact. Where Ethereum's never going to be able to get compliant with those FinCEN rules. Now, I know they delayed the FinCEN, but that's coming. There's no question that the anonymous transacting it's not going to last long term. It's just a reality of the future. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that it's not possible to get compliant, and they're going to crack down so hard that we can't even use these different DeFi protocols. Because at the end of the day, they're still just software. So anyone can interact from their self-custody wallet and interact with the Kava app. Like, that nobody could regulate. I mean, it's really hard to regulate things like that. But at the same time, there's the side of, well, you want institutional money coming in. We want enterprise money coming in. How's that money going to come in if they don't know who their counterparty is on the other side? But if they do know who the counterparty is, and they can verify it very quickly with like PayString and a digital identity and authentication, then you'll see that money pour in. It's just not going to pour in on networks that can't do that. So, all right, I'm falling behind here. Just a tip, you guys know you can pop the chat out to full screen. Oh, no, I did not know that. All right, next stream I'll do that. All right, we got in the white paper, it did say 2.5 times. XDC was ERC20, so what is it now? All right, so SeverOrg asks, will F assets still get Flare Network Spark rewards while staked in Flare Finance LPs? That's a very good question. So that's one of the things we haven't got exact answers on, but if I had to speculate on that, if you took your F asset and put it in a single side Flare farm pool, I would think you would still be able to get the rewards because the asset's still there in the smart contract and only you could pull it out. But if you were going to put it in the Flare Finance liquidity pools on Flare X, and you were going to put, say, some FXRP and some, say, YFlare on the other side, the balance of how much FXRP you would have would always be changing in that liquidity pool. So I'm not sure how they would be able to calculate the rewards. So that's just how I see that at the moment. I'm not sure how they're going to come out with that. Because I don't think Flare has released the open source code. So Flare Finance can't even really answer that yet until we get the open source code from Flare Network. All right. Mickey, when do the deflare snapshot? Will it be based on the whole flare amount we are getting over the 36 months or only the 15% that will be distributed to us initially? Okay, so that's what Greg asks. It's a great question. So it'll be actually neither. It'll be based on your Spark holdings the day of the snapshot. So it'll just matter whatever you have at that point. So this is going to be a month after Flare Network goes live. So if you bought more Spark in that time period, then you'll get more deflare. But it has nothing to do with what you're going to get in the future. They made it easy. So now it will allow everyone to participate. So if you had it on an exchange when the first snapshot happened, or if you had it in a self-custody wallet, it doesn't matter. All that matters is what you have in Spark quantity at the time of the deflare snapshot. That's it. And I would pretty much assume that you're going to have to probably keep much of it in your self-custody wallet, not on an exchange, unless it's a supporting exchange, which BitTrue has already announced. But I don't think we're going to see as many exchanges with the DeFi as we will. All right, we're catching up here. Sean Driver asked, so what should I do now? He transferred. Oh, no, that's not a question. All right. Frank Sparano asks, what do you make of these super cycle theories? Will we see another 3-year bear market? Very interesting. So it really comes down to the difference this time from 2017 is the amount of corporate and institutional money that's coming in and the more mature products. So instead of when it was 2017, 2018, a lot of things, money was going into projects that were a couple years out from being really ready to use. And now we're starting to actually see utility in a lot of the tokens. But even if it's not utility, you're seeing financial products within DeFi and CeFi where you could hold those assets and then keep making money. So this is kind of, I kind of could break the super cycle theory in a way because these weren't around in 2017, 2018. So as you have more things to do with your assets and use them, it's less likely that people are going to be selling them at the top just to dump on everyone, and then there's nobody there to buy them. Now you can actually use these assets and hold them. Not all of them, but we're starting to see it more and more. And then I think the next cycle we'll see really more of the utility, and that will separate, the tokens that really are not doing anything, or they failed already. We got Brian asks. Okay, we got Carl Monty. Hey there. Are you worried Flare and XRP and being too slow going to be a step behind the others since the competition is already roaring? Okay, so excuse me. So I would say I don't know what they're behind on. You could look at price, but that could be changed in a matter of days. I don't really see them being behind. I would say they're ahead of pretty much everything. You have a 300 plus financial institutions already linked to a payment network to the XRP ledger. That's pretty much ahead of everybody. Let's see. Ethereum's going to be going through a transition that's going to take probably like 2 years. So I don't know if they're really behind on that. And then you got Bitcoin. It's just Bitcoin. You can't do much with it. But it is still a store of value. And then you have a lot of this interoperability going on, but it's really between the smart contract blockchains on the layer 2. But I wouldn't say they're behind. I would say Flare's coming out at the perfect time because the one thing that's going to be different with Flare, the native token's not going to have to be locked up or staked or anything like that to be utilized or to earn. And the platform has low gas fees, but it uses the Ethereum public network, not the virtual machine for the smart contracts. So no, I don't think we're really behind at all. Price is a poor indicator. Okay, we got Sporo, aka Logan X. Are you planning to mint your XRP on launch? I'm just worried about having to exchange Spark back to XRP if the agent actually uses the XRP. So, on the day of launch, you're not going to be able to mint FXRP. Hugo already said that. It's going to be a little time after we go launch with Flare Networks that we're going to be able to actually mint. It could be a couple days, it could be a week. They just want the volatility of Spark to stabilize before allowing all that to happen. The system's going to be a dynamic system. So the agent, you shouldn't have to worry about anything. So here's the whole point of the Flare Network and the F-Asset system is it's trustless. You're going to be able to get your XRP back no matter what. So unlike wrapped Bitcoin, where it's just you're trusting this custodian to hold this asset, this is a system where no matter what happens, you're always going to get back your XRP. So you're not trusting anybody. And it's not one agent necessarily holding your XRP like that. It's going to be more along the lines of like a dynamic system with, I don't want to go too far into that. But I would think more think of agents like, the term agents is used a lot in machine learning and AI. So it's more along the lines of that. It's like software is pretty much going to do it. I wouldn't look at it as like somebody manually standing over there holding your XRP. But we'll get more details on that system. Patty's also wrote some really good blogs on the website for that. If you check out the DeFiStandard.com. All right, moving along. Also, I just want to let everyone know, because I know a lot of people DM me, that we opened up the a new tier on the Patreon that's unlimited, so that everyone could join if they like. It's up to you. I just want everyone to know that, because I got a lot of DMs. It was unfortunate that those other two got sold out that fast. We really did not expect that. So I just want everyone to know that there is now a new section on Patreon that's opened up. All right, we got Carl Monty. All right, so Alexander. Chat's moving fast. Mickey B. Fresh, could you see the case against Ripple coming to a close near the end of the bull cycle? making the smart money placing their profits from all other assets into XRP, skyrocketing the gains. Yeah, absolutely. It's inevitable, just like your name. Yeah, I do see that happening. I mean, it makes sense. Think about all this money that smart money's making now on Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these other altcoins. You see the one asset that hasn't gone anywhere yet, and then with the most potential settling, and it's going to get even more public eyes when they do settle. So yeah, I do think we're going to see a skyrocketing gains. But I do think be careful there because it's going to be speculative driven. But after that, I also expect Ripple and Ripple X to do a huge marketing push. And I think it's going to be massive. I mean, seeing some job descriptions, you could see that they're ready to roll out new types of products. And keep an eye on the web monetization and the ILP wallets, and it's going to be a big push once the settlement's over. All right, then here's a good question. 007 Dennis asked, Mickey, what do you think of Proppy? Will this be big? So that was real exciting to see Flare community uncover that with the connections on Twitter. Now, I really couldn't find too much other information on that. Be careful about the Proppy token that exists right now. It's in a weird, like, Ethereum smart contract, and it's only trading on Huobi. So be careful. I mean, this is speculation. It's not financial advice. We could see, like, a reboot on Flare Network, possibly, and that token that's out there might be irrelevant. I don't know. I think if they were doing it, I would reboot the whole thing over on Flare Network. Because if you think about it, in the last year, there really hasn't been much talked about with Proppy. So, all right. Thank you, Jay, for the $10 super chat. Much appreciated. I got to get to your question. I'm really far behind. Sorry. Excellent source of info. Take my money. Thank you, Jay. All right. Let me go back here. Are you in the Flare Finance beta? Yes, I'm in the Flare Finance beta. I just haven't had been able to spend hours and hours in there, but I've utilized the whole thing. It's fun. But it gives you a sense of like what moves not to make, and if you make mistakes now with Flare Finance, at least you know how it's going to act. So I like this idea of being able to test things. You can understand how it works, what to do, what not to do, and then you could go into the Discord and ask people questions. Or if you don't want to ask, just read the board, the forum in there, and questions are mostly answered. All right, so Ekla Trollo, is it true we need to convert Flare to D-Flare? No. You're converting D-Flare to Y-Flare. Okay? So nothing to do with your Flare. That will be a month after the snapshot. You're going to get D-Flare, and then you're going to convert to Y-Flare. And that you'll have to do on FlareX, but it has nothing to do with your Spark. Nothing. D-Flare, you're not converting to. You're getting that, and then you're converting it to Y-Flare. All right, moving on. Mickey B will be the wrap feature on Flare Finance. Be more assets to... All right, hold on. Will the wrap feature on Flare Finance be for more assets to than USDT, or will you be able to wrap other assets? Yes. So my understanding is Flare Finance wrap, you'll be able to get all your ERC20 tokens over. So in the private beta, they actually had Celsius on there. They actually had, there were some other assets too. Any ERC20 should be able to go right through the Flare wrap. So I think they're just using USDT for the test, but I think we'll see more. Jeff Woodle. Thank you, Jeff. And thank you, Jimmy James. Much appreciated. Thank you, Staying Alpha. Send you a tweet, DM. Thoughts on Doge with Flare. Doge gonna have a big use case, and they have a big community. So I do think that it's gonna be, I don't think it's going to be just that token that's useless anymore. They're going to have the same exact abilities as FXRP, as FLTC. So they're all kind of on a level playing field once you bring them over to Flare Network. And they'll be earning yield every day. So yeah, I do think there's high hopes because they have a big community and they have a big name. So yeah, Doge, if you would have asked me that 6 months ago, I might have said something different. But knowing what's coming, I think there's a lot of potential there. Okay, Sean Campbell asks, I came in late here. Just wondering if you happen to know when you can purchase Flare. I've had my XRP since November, but didn't have it on a ledger or the right exchange before the 12th. So, if you didn't have either of those, you're not going to be able to purchase till the network goes live. Real Spark. But if you could buy IOUs off of Bitrue if you like. So Bitrue would be the exchange to look for that. But it's looking like June. Oh, I missed this question. Tony Bianchi says, any thoughts on Pack Global partnering with Flare? Yeah, I think that they're going to be dealing with a lot of the node infrastructure with Flare Network. Because you think about it, all these networks that are going to be linked to Flare, Litecoin, Doge, XRP, Stellar, and Bitcoin soon, they're going to all need node infrastructure on those networks too. So there's a lot of that needed, and I think Pack Global will help with that as a partner. I don't know how much like the partner aspect they announced yet publicly, but it does seem like a good fit. Because you got to remember, Flare Limited is going to be actually a participant in the network. So they're going to be utilizing the Flare network and other components. So Flare network itself, though, can't partner with anyone because it's a network. But Flare Limited can. All right. With Common Joe asks, with China playing on handing out free digital currencies at the next year's Winter Olympics, isn't there great urgency to get SEC versus XRP situation resolved ASAP so the U.S. doesn't fall behind in the space? Yeah, absolutely, there is. We just don't know the terms of negotiation behind the scenes. We don't know exactly what Ripple is refusing to settle to. I mean, those details, Ripple, for all we know, wants certain terms and the SEC won't budge, or it's the other way around. But it's starting to look like now that the SEC's case is really weak. With that Forbes article coming out, that Palo Alto law firm putting out information on it, we have former SEC commissioners coming out and saying things. I mean, that's just the fact that Grunsfest warned Clayton not to do that and it's going to hurt retail. And then he did it anyway. I mean, it was just mind-boggling to me. I think the judge, from the way that Jeremy Hogan in his video broke down the type of person she is, I think she's going to see this, and we're going to see a settlement sooner than later, much sooner than later. And yeah, they can't be left behind. The Congress needs to really get their act together, because that's who is really the one who's going to take control of all this. They have to put the regulations out. They need to put out a framework. The SEC can't do that. There is Proppy. Oh, this is a good point here. Charlie Zabrowski says, there is Proppy and then there is Probity. Yeah, they are very similar. It's a good point you make there. Very similar. Yeah, so the Probity was really interesting how, like, I did that video on it yesterday, but that's basically going to be like a decentralized, like, central bank on the Flare network. The way it's going to be able to take deposits and borrowers, and it's going to have, like, a bond-type system with the interest rate and free floating. So I was talking to Brad Kimes. We're going to be doing a video together next week. So most likely he's going to be coming on the show here, and just keep an eye out for that. So we're talking about what day we're going to do it, and I'll give you guys all notice. So looking forward to that. I've been on his channel so many times. I was like, you know what, it's time. Come on, Brad, come on over. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. Staying Alpha, thank you. All right, where are we? At least from the YouTubers I see, it seems like nobody is talking about Flare. Why? The XRP army is all over it, but nobody else. SEC maybe? I think the XRP community, or a lot of the top people are kind of in their ways. I mean, there's a lot of people talking about it. I've seen. I mean, Crypto Eddie talks about it all the time. But yeah, I think it's just something that's not there yet, so we can't interact with fully, so it's not getting as much attention, but it will. Just give it a couple of weeks. Wait till we get closer to launch. You'll see a lot of stuff come out. But now is the time to learn about it, because if you don't know now, a lot of people are going to be, very unfamiliar when it happens, and they're going to be tripping over themselves trying to figure out how they can make money. Even if the market's going up, down, sideways, it won't matter. I mean, you're still going to be making money. Oh, I just skipped over one. All right, so Eric asks, will the Spark rewards for minting F assets be based on the dollar valuation of the minted F assets, or will one FXRP rewarded amount of the Spark as one F Doge as one FLTC? Great question. It's based on the dollar valuation, and that's only possible because of the Flare time series Oracle allows the prices to be calculated in dollars. So if you have, 100 XRP and you have 100 Litecoin, they're going to be the dollar valuation. Obviously, the 2 Litecoin will be more at the prices right now. So it'll be dollar valuation. And it could calculate that in real time to send out the rewards. And they'll be daily, which is pretty cool. So they'll be compounding. So Edwin asks, hi, Mickey. First, thank you for all your great videos. Just came into the stream. What are your thoughts about the future of the FX market and the stock markets on Flare? Greets from Netherlands. Well, welcome. Thank you. What's interesting is if you put Flare and XRP together, it's FX. So that's one thing that's interesting. Also, the fact that Ethereum has full smart contracts, like Turing Complete, is going to add a new ability for all like XRP. So now we'll have these 2 assets. We'll have XRP and then FXRP, which will have full smart contract capability. They'll be able to interact with private Ethereum networks then in the future. So if anything's built on Quorum, like JPM's blockchain, or what is it, Consensus, they'll be able to interact with that. And then with the XRP ledger getting Hook's amendment soon, that will give it extra capabilities too. So I think the future of the FX market is going to really depend on the CBDCs, and if we see the level of tokenization from the capital markets. I mean, FX is really hard to see. Like, Ripple's pretty much got it locked up with RippleNet and with SBI over there, but this is dealing with all the account-based fiat. Once it goes to token-based and CBDCs, they need to be ready for that. But I just think they're in a good position because you have the Ethereum, which is pretty much the standard for smart contracts. And then you have the XRP ledger too. So you have both right there for XRP to be in both forms. And Seventh Demon asks, how do you earn F assets and Spark at the same time? So you earn the underlying F assets with your Spark. So you take your Spark, you stake it with the agents, if that's an exchange or somebody else, and you earn those underlying assets of the F assets that are minted. So if somebody was minting FXRP, they have to pay a percentage in XRP. You would earn a percentage of that. Now, you could also simultaneously delegate your FTSO vote to earn Spark. And that's how you could earn both simultaneously. That's what's pretty cool about the native token. And that will draw a lot of demand once people realize they could do that, because you're not able to do that with anything else. Not that I'm aware of at the infrastructure level. Banjo, welcome. Banjo Samurai. All right. There was another question on Proppy. All right. Dumb question here. There's no dumb questions. Troy Wallace asks, if I claim my Flare on my ledger, are coins being dropped onto my ledger, or do I need to get a different wallet like Decent? So you sent the message key of where to send it to. Now, they haven't released the Flare actual network yet, so we don't know where you're going to have to receive it from. Ledger is going to be able to support it because Toho Labs is building the app. So I wouldn't worry. There's nothing you could do really right now. I don't think you're going to need to get a decent wallet. Not if you have a Ledger already. You'll be able to link that right in for Spark. You'll be good. But we just don't have the information yet. But they're building it. So there'll be an app that will link for your Ledger for your Spark. But I do like the decent wallet. I mean, the hardware wallet. I like that fact that it has your thumbprint. You can just put it there. It seems like a little more user-friendly than Ledger, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so XRP Monster asks, I really hope the Spark price will be correct when it really comes out. Well, that's an interesting topic right there, because I don't know if you could be correct. It's going to kind of be all over the place probably for the first day or two. You think about it, you're going to have 75 different exchanges going live all at the same time for something. And it's kind of going to be arbitrage all over the place, and probably will take a day or 2 or 3 days to settle down to where the arbitrage levels everything out. So you have the sellers out, those people that just want to dump for a quick profit, they'll come out, and then the people who want to get in will get in, and the price should then go up. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that first day. There might be a lot of arbitrage opportunities in the beginning. All right, so I wish... All right, hold on. Let me catch up here. You guys are having a good conversation between yourselves. All right, Moneybags. What's up, Moneybags? Good to see you. If we are airdropped a boatload of Spark in 2021, we in the U.S. will end up with a large tax burden. Am I correct? No. It's being airdropped at 0, so you can't have tax on something that has no monetary value. So I don't know where that's coming from. That I've been seeing that a lot, but there's no value in the airdrop of Spark. The initial airdrop is worth $0, so you can't be taxed on something that has no value. Now, the distribution of the rest of the allocation, I'm not sure about, but even with that, you're technically being airdropped the whole thing at once, but you're going to get it distributed to you over 2 to 3 years, but it's in your possession. I don't know how they're going to, I don't know how the IRS and stuff is going to work that out, but the initial dropping, there's no tax burden because it's not worth any money. You know, it comes in at 0. If it's worth, $30 the next day, I mean, whatever it is worth that you have, it's not until you sell that you can get taxed. So I don't know how you could have a tax burden on something that's given to you for free. And it has 0 value. So I don't know where that information is coming from, who's saying that. But I'm not a tax expert. It's not financial advice, but just, common sense tells you you're getting something that's worth $0 and you're not investing any money into it. I don't know how that you could be taxed for that. The afterwards, though, after those monthly airdrops, it is possible, every country might be different. They might say that, okay, now Spark is valued at this and you're getting it dropped. I mean, it's possible. I just don't see how the first airdrop, there could be any tax implications. But that's not financial advice. All right, so Sandbox XRP Bully asks, hey, Mickey, is it true that Flare will airdrop XLM soon? No, I don't know. No, there's no other airdrops coming. There's nothing like that. And nobody was getting airdropped any of the F assets. Not that I'm aware of. Flare Limited specifically said there's no more airdrops coming. The only difference is that the Litecoin holders have their own unique rewards pool. That is one thing that is different. But they don't expect any other airdrops. Not from Flare Networks. Flare Finance, they have their own thing. All right, so we got Dustin Patrick's asked, Mickey, I am learning this network in the beta, but I am confused with the FYBXDX in front of the token. Please explain. All right, that's a good question. So my understanding is those are just temporary designations for the betas of them coming over. So B, I think, was like beta, and then there was one after that. They're just, and then the next one was for the competition. So when you saw the BX, I think that was prior competition tokens, and then DX is like the competition tokens. So that if you had some of the old ones from before the competition, you wouldn't confuse those with the new ones. I think that's why they did that. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, it's a little clunky going through MetaMask because you got to keep in mind here, they're using Ethereum testnets for all this stuff. This isn't on Flare yet. Like Flare is still going through security audits. So they made this testnet costing on Ethereum as a custom testnet. And I know some of the, like the USDT uses the Ropsten testnet. So that's why the beta is a little clunky. So once it is on Flare, the interface will be much nicer. There'll be more details and information of, what's in this pool and more details. That's what Deep Space Flare was telling me, which I kept asking questions about too. All right. So Patty XRP asked, thinly spread had a real good question. Oh, sorry. I did skip over one or two. Let me see. All right. Scott E. Bullish asked, what is the max amount of XRP can be staked on Flare Network per account? Can you have more than one account? So, I don't know if you could call it staking. It's really not the word that's best to describe it. You're going to be bringing over your XRP to the Flare Network as FXRP. There will be limits dependent upon how much collateral is in there. So the system will manage that. I can't see why you can't have more than one account. I don't know how that's going to work, when it's going to limit you, or if there's going to be a waiting list on how much could be minted. It'll depend on if there's enough collateral and a spark value high enough to be able to handle more FXRP. So keep your eyes out for that. But I think that I can't see why you can't have more than one account. If you have XRP in different addresses, then you'd have different accounts, right? All right, let me go look for his question. I don't see it. All right. Hank Dank, thank you. Because of you, I discovered Flare Network 2 months ago. Thank you. Love to invite you to guest on the Staying Alpha stream for our Doge community. Oh, yes, I would like to interact with you guys. Whatchamacallit? DM me on Twitter, Hank Dank. It's at Mr. Fresh Time. And we could set something up, yeah. I would be definitely interested in that. We were looking for somebody to reach out to the Doge community to help everyone understand over there, because this is really what's good, bringing these communities together, and we're all going to be one on one network soon. And that includes Litecoin, Stellar, and XRP, and soon Bitcoin. Oh, I got his question now. Here we go. Thinly spread. I'll paste again. Can you talk about David's XRP native stablecoin proposal versus Flare stablecoin proposal bridge back to XRPL? Great question. All right. So the one thing that was made known in the Probity and the trust line that just came out was that on the sell side of the order book with the interest rate, there's going to be an allotted amount of extra stablecoin there. So having that there seems like it has that redemption aspect to it that David Schwartz's stablecoin proposal had. So I do think that that's the similarity that needs to be brought in. Because if you can't redeem, or there's no way to manage the peg beyond like how, say, like just MakerDAO does it or Kava does it, you have this ability now with the dynamic interest rates and that sell side that people could then redeem. We got to get more details on it. But I find David Schwartz's stablecoin proposal, the most intriguing about it was that you were able to redeem stablecoin for XRP, no matter who you are. But we need to really find more details. They sent some stuff out. I posted it in the last video in the comments below. And it's just like very vague. And it uses some like deep terminology. But it does seem a little more in line with the financial markets. And I was talking to Patty about this before the live stream. Compared to, say, the DeFi, which is just really just, farming and doing all this stuff, with the proposal by Flare Networks, the preamble they called it, and now with the RA stablecoin, it seems a little more built for traditional markets, because that Probity is kind of like a decentralized Fed Reserve. The way they're going to have interest rates managing it, it's kind of like the bond market. So that's what Brad and I are going to talk about on the show upcoming this week, which I think will be interesting. But good question nonetheless. I really can't answer that fully because I don't know. It's inevitable, asks Mickey B. Fresh. With Flare Network being Turing complete, could a Gen 2 Gen 2 network possibly overtake it in the years ahead, or is it open sourced? No, it's going to be open sourced. It's open sourced. They're going to open source it, is my understanding. I don't see why that would make them overtake it in the years ahead. One thing about the Flare network that will be able to be adjusted, it's not stuck with the Ethereum EVM forever, that it is agnostic to the virtual machine that it could use. So there could be, they talked about Agoric and possibly upgrading to more like JavaScript objects. I mean, that'll get really technical. But I know that Agoric's the one to watch for what they're doing with cross-chain. And I know there's a lot of layer 2 projects now with the EVM that will be able to go back and forth. But I think Flare will be able to evolve with everything else. Because what's going to be nice is you're going to have Flare with the Turing complete, and then you'll have the XRP ledger, which will have like light smart contracts with hooks. So you have a nice balance there. But I don't know what you mean by overtake. Maybe you could clarify a little more on that. All right. Almost at the end of the chat. How long are we going? 10:30? Okay. How long? Oh, wow. I'm really far behind the chat. Sorry, guys. Hamilton asks, OAC never leave your currency on an exchange. So how do you not leave your currency on an exchange if you're doing a limit or stop limit order till filled? Might take weeks. No, you have to leave it on exchange at that point. Well, one thing I will say, from 2-3 years ago compared to now, I think the exchanges are a lot better, and they're only going to get better and more secure. So you can't do it. You have to leave it like that. You're right. Unless you do it, through decentralized exchanges, but then you don't have the order book. So you do have to leave it on the exchange to do that. Thank you, Don. When Flare goes live, we'll get drops of new program. How does Flare and XRP affect each other's prices? That was the question. That's a good question. So, XRP could be affected by Flare, as in the more FXRP that's minted on the Flare network, which means there's going to be less XRP on the exchanges to be traded, and people will be less likely to sell XRP when they have it on the Flare network and they're earning daily yield from just holding it there. So now when the price goes up, less likely to sell it because you're earning daily yield, so you'll just hold it. So people will be less likely to pull out those profits, and they'll be more likely for people to come in and buy. So I think it does have a big effect on not just FXRP, but the other F assets too. I just think FXRP will be the most popular. All right. It's really too bad that all the XRP haters missed out on Flare drop. Flare will be more massive than we all think. Hodl strong peeps. He's absolutely right. A lot of people missed out on that. And they'll be coming back around. All right, so we got Lion's Fangs asks, where do you see the initial price of Spark token when the first airdrop happens? I see it at $10. So the day that we have the first launch, the first airdrop, I don't know. It's so hard to tell. $10 is pretty high. But the supply is only going to be, the true circulating supply is only going to be like 4 or 5 billion. I mean, it will show higher than that on CoinMarketCap, but the actual available Spark that can be traded on exchanges is only going to be a couple billion. So even at $10, that's still like right around the same market cap as XRP right now. Kind of around there. So I don't know if I want to say $10. I'm not one for giving price predictions. And it's really hard to say with Spark. I think $10 is possible by the end of 2021. How about that? That's what I would say. It's possible the way the design of the network and the way Spark is going to be in demand. But I don't know about right at launch. Too many variables. When will Flare Finance go live and will look similar to beta test? So they're going live a month after Flare Network goes live, and it's not going to be identical to the beta test. I think they're going to add more to it, they told me. So I'll pop out chat. Okay, we figured out how to make the chat bigger. All right, let me catch up. Mickey B. Fresh. Crypto. All right, I think we're all caught up. All right, we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes, so get the last questions in here. All right, so XRP Whale 858 asks, can FXRP go back to being XRP, or once it becomes an F asset, that's it? So, good question. Yes, it can go back to being XRP at any time, and you should be able to do that straight from your Flare wallet, whatever that's going to be. I mean, I have a feeling it's going to be similar to like MetaMask. It'll probably be like a browser extension, and I've been looking into like Coil and the web monetization and everything they're doing there, like the Puma browser. And that's really, there is this tie-in from web monetization and the browsers to kind of like when you were using MetaMask on Flare Finance. It's all part of the same thing. You know, you're all in the web browser, you're on the desktop. I mean, I would think that's where they would put in like a Flare wallet. It would be right an extension right into the browser so you don't have to expose your private keys. Because if you could keep your private keys on a ledger or a decent wallet and just use the browser extension, I think that will appeal to a lot of XRP holders and a lot of people in the ecosystem. Because then you don't got to sign with your private keys. You could just keep them locked away and just use the browser extension. So yes, you'll be able to go to XRP back whenever you want. Crypto Boom 50 says, thank you, Mickey B, and your team that supports you for providing invaluable information and insight for the Flare network and all the inner workings. You're welcome. I'm glad we could help. That's why we're here. That's why I put this channel together. And Lars, Patty, Don, and the team, they've been a super help. And Dale with the thumbnails. It's really been a great experience, and I enjoy sharing the knowledge that I found after thousands of hours of researching this stuff. It feels good to share it. You know, it's not one of those things where you should keep it all to yourself. All right, so R. Hamilton, I heard that Ledger wallet got hacked in the past. What about top recommended cold wallets today for XRP? Phone wallet apps like Atomic okay for warm? So I would look into the Decent, the biometrics one, where you just put your thumbprint in and it will unlock it for you. I thought that was pretty cool for a hardware wallet. And then that will link to a warm wallet on your phone. You want to keep them separated. That's really what this comes down to. We're going to want the private keys locked away on a hardware wallet, and then you're going to want easy access either on a software wallet app or a browser like extension, something like MetaMask, but for Flare and XRP. So that's how I think they'll work together. Oh, my battery's dying on this computer. All right, let's get the last questions in here, and we're going to wrap this up. Thank you, Jack Martin. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats. Appreciate it. Yeah, look into the biometrics, the descent, which was pretty cool. Which you don't even have to remember then your password because your thumb, it's never going to go anywhere. So you just always use that to get back in. All right, last question. Do you think XRP will miss out, I guess you mean, on this bull run of this case doesn't get settled soon? Yeah, that's a possibility, but I have a feeling this bull run is not going to be one of those. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. I think we're in a long-term bull run, at least for a good time period, at least a year now. But yeah, if it does drag out for the end of the year, I think, yeah, it is possible we can miss out. That sucks, but it is a possibility. I hope that doesn't happen. I really hope. Will there be a Spark, Flare, airdrop for XLM holders? Bruce, Tampa? No, there's not going to be any other airdrops for any other assets for Spark as of right now. So you'll be able to earn Spark if you bring your XLM over to Flare Network as FXLM. Then you'll be able to earn Spark daily airdrops every day. But you're not going to get an initial one. They only did one. That's as of now. I mean, they said they're not doing any. Last question. Sam Jones. Mickey, do you think Coinbase becoming a crypto bank could pool its cryptos in Flare Finance? Coinbase becoming a crypto bank, I think is going to be interesting. I don't know if they're going to necessarily use just one protocol over all the others, but I do think that they're going to give access to their institutions and corporate clients, and market makers are going to want to use these liquidity pools to tap into liquidity. The merging of CeFi and DeFi is bound to happen. And once they could do it compliantly, see, the thing is, Coinbase and those regulated entities might not be able to use DeFi unless they know who the counterparties are. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But they definitely look like they're on the list to become a crypto bank too. Kraken. Yeah, I think that's one other thing we didn't talk about was the Flare Finance airdrop ratio. So the reason why the ratio keeps changing is because the amount of claimed Spark keeps changing. There's a certain amount of unclaimed Spark, and as people continue to claim up until June 11th, the ratio is going to change then for the Flare Finance airdrop because there's more Spark then. So that's the reason why that's adjusting, just so people know. All right, guys and gals, I'm going to wrap it up. All right. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. And we'll be back on this week. Brad and I are going to do a show, but it's going to be probably a recorded one. And we're going to try and do more live streams in the future. So I'll put out a little notice ahead of time so everyone knows. All right. Thank you. I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.